the universe is far more empty than we dare to imagine. We are used to seeing images of glowing nebulae and crowded star clusters, but these are the exceptions. The rule is silence. Deep in the constellation of Boötes, there is a region of space that defies all logic, a sphere of nothingness so vast that it challenges our very understanding of cosmic evolution. Scientists call it the Boötes void, or simply the Great Nothing. It spans 330 million light-years in diameter. To put that in perspective, if our Milky Way were at its center, we would have believed for centuries that we were the only galaxy in existence. The night sky would not be filled with the glow of neighboring stars. It would be a wall of total, uncompromising black. For a long time, astronomers believed that the universe was relatively uniform. But the discovery of this void changed everything. In a volume of space this size, there should be at least 10,000 galaxies. Instead, we find only a handful of lonely, isolated islands of light. As we journey deeper into this abyss, we must ask ourselves, why does it exist? Is it a natural ripple in the Big Bang's aftermath? Or is it evidence of something more unsettling? Some theorists suggest that advanced civilizations could be harvesting the energy of entire galaxies, leaving behind empty pockets of darkness. Others believe we are looking at a wound in the fabric of reality itself, a place where the laws of physics didn't want to create life. Imagine being born in a galaxy inside this void. Your scientists would look through their telescopes and see nothing. They would conclude that the universe is finite and that they are the only inhabitants of a cold, dead vacuum. This is the power of the Great Void. It doesn't just isolate you physically, it isolates you intellectually. Stay with us as we descend further into the architecture of silence. Today, we explore not just the stars, but the terrifying infinite space between them. As we leave the absolute silence of the Boötes void, we encounter a mystery of a different kind, a mystery of motion. We often think of our galaxy as a steady vessel sailing through a calm cosmic sea. But the truth is much more violent. We are being hunted. Deep in the direction of the Centaurus and Norma constellations, hidden behind the thick dust of our own Milky Way, lies something immense. Astronomers call it the Great Attractor. It is not a star nor a single black hole. It is a gravitational anomaly so massive that it is pulling hundreds of thousands of galaxies toward it. We are among them. Our home, the Milky Way, is being dragged through space at an incredible speed of over 1.4 million miles per hour. We are falling toward an invisible destination, and we cannot stop. For decades, this region was a zone of avoidance, a blind spot where the light from our own galaxy blocked our view of what lay beyond. But as our technology improved, we began to see the scale of the pull. We realized that we are part of a cosmic supercluster called Laniakea, a word that, in Hawaiian, means immeasurable heaven. But this heaven has a dark center. The Great Attractor is the heart of this structure, the point where all paths converge. What happens when we finally arrive? Is it a cosmic graveyard where galaxies collide and perish? Or is it simply a doorway to an even larger structure, the Shapley supercluster, which is pulling the Great Attractor itself? The more we look, the more we realize that nothing in the universe is truly at rest. We are all part of a grand, terrifying migration. We are falling through the dark, headed toward a destiny we did not choose, toward a force we are only beginning to understand. But what if you were not part of this grand migration? What if you were left behind? As we track the movement of entire galaxies toward the great attractor, we often forget the individuals within them. Not every star stays where it was born. Deep in the darkness between galaxies, there are trillions of rogue stars. These are suns that have been violently kicked out of their home systems. Perhaps they got too close to a supermassive black hole, or were caught in the chaotic collision of two galaxies. Now, they drift in the intergalactic void forever. If you lived on a planet orbiting a rogue star, your nights would be different from anything we can imagine. There would be no constellations, no Milky Way stretching across the sky, only one single lonely sun in an ocean of absolute black. To an observer there, the universe would appear even more empty than it does from within the Boötes void. These stars are the ghosts of the cosmos. They represent a truth we often ignore, that the universe is not just a place of gravity and connection, but a place of profound separation. For every star that shines in a cluster, there is another wandering alone, millions of light years from the nearest neighbor. These wanderers remind us that the light we see in our sky is a privilege. We are part of a community. But as the universe continues to expand, this community is slowly being torn apart. The gaps between us are growing, and eventually, the darkness that the rogue stars face today will become the fate of every star in existence. This leads us to a question that has haunted scientists for decades. If the universe is destined to grow colder and darker, what happens when the very last light goes out? To understand the future, we must look at the slow decay of time itself. Every star we have discussed, every galaxy we have mapped, is fueled by a finite resource: energy. And in the grand timeline of the cosmos, we are currently living in the brief, flickering moment of light. Scientists call this the stelliferous era, the age of stars. But it cannot last forever. As the universe continues to expand, galaxies will move so far apart that their light will never reach one another. The cosmic web we see today will tear. One by one, the rogue stars will burn out. The great nebulae will stop collapsing into new suns. The universe will enter the era of degenerate objects. White dwarfs, neutron stars, and black holes will be the only things left in a cold, expanding graveyard. Eventually, even these will fail. Through a process known as Hawking radiation, black holes, those giants that once devoured entire star systems, will slowly evaporate into nothingness. Time will lose its meaning because nothing will ever happen again. This is the heat death of the universe, a state of maximum entropy where the temperature is uniform and no energy can ever be exchanged. It is not a violent end, but a quiet one, a fade to black that lasts for trillions upon trillions of years. In the end, there will be no light, no heat, and no memory of the civilizations that once looked at the stars and wondered why they were here. Only the void remains. If the universe is as vast and as old as we have described, it leads us to a haunting question. Where is everyone? This is the Fermi paradox. In a galaxy of billions of stars, many of which are billions of years older than our sun, the silence is deafening. We have scanned the heavens for decades, listening for a whisper, a signal, or any sign of a cosmic neighbor, but we have found nothing, only the cold, indifferent hum of background radiation. This silence suggests the existence of something terrifying: the Great Filter. It is a theoretical barrier that prevents life from becoming an interstellar civilization. It is a wall that every species eventually hits. The question is, Where do we stand in relation to this wall? Have we already passed it? Was the emergence of complex life the filter? Or is the filter still ahead of us, waiting in our future like a hidden predator? Think about the Buddha's void once more. Perhaps it isn't a natural formation. Perhaps it is a graveyard, a region of space where civilizations reached their limit and vanished. If the great filter is ahead of us, it means that every time a species reaches our level of technology, they destroy themselves. Climate collapse, nuclear war, or out of control artificial intelligence might be the universal silent killers. As we drift through the Milky Way, we are looking for a needle in a haystack, but we are beginning to realize the haystack might be empty. We are like children calling out in a dark forest, terrified that someone might answer, but even more terrified of the possibility that no one is there at all. The isolation we feel today is not just a matter of distance, it is a matter of time and survival. We are a brief flicker of consciousness in a universe that seems designed to extinguish it. We must consider the possibility that we are the first or the last. Or perhaps the universe is crowded with life, but they are all hiding. Hiding from something we haven't seen yet. Something that lurks in the shadows between the stars, waiting for a signal loud enough to hunt. If the great filter is the wall that stops life, then black holes are the walls that stop reality itself. To understand the true scale of the cosmos, we must look into the mouth of the abyss. A black hole is not just a dark star. It is a place where the fabric of space and time is torn so deeply that nothing, not even light, can escape. At the heart of every large galaxy, including our own, sits a supermassive monster. These titans, millions of times heavier than our sun, act as the anchors of the universe, but they are also its ultimate destroyers. Imagine approaching the event horizon, the point of no return. As you get closer, gravity begins to warp not just the space around you, but time itself. To an outside observer, you would appear to slow down, freezing in place as if you were becoming a permanent part of the cosmos. But in your own reality, you would be falling faster and faster. This is the horror of the singularity, a point of infinite density where our laws of physics simply stop working. Mathematics breaks down. Logic fails. What happens inside? Some theories suggest that black holes are gateways, wormholes to other universes, or different points in time. Others believe they are the ultimate delete button of the universe, erasing everything that falls into them, leaving only a faint shadow of information on their surface. We call this the information paradox. If a black hole can destroy information, then the past, present, and future might not be as secure as we think. There are black holes so large that they could swallow our entire solar system in a single heartbeat. TON 618, one of the largest ever discovered, has a mass of 66 billion suns. It is so vast, so dark, and so powerful that the human mind cannot truly comprehend its existence. These objects are the final rulers of the universe. Long after the last star has burned out, and long after the Buddha's void has expanded to consume everything we know, black holes will still be there. They are the last witnesses to the history of time, slowly evaporating over trillions of years until, finally, the universe is truly empty. What if our entire universe, with all its voids, black holes, and billions of galaxies, is just a single bubble in an infinite frothing ocean? This is the multiverse theory, and it is perhaps the most humbling realization a human mind can encounter. If space is truly infinite, then the laws of probability dictate a startling reality. Everything that can happen, has happened and is happening right now in an endless number of parallel worlds. Scientists suggest that during the first fraction of a second after the Big Bang, space expanded so rapidly that it created separate pockets of reality. Each pocket, or bubble universe, could have its own laws of physics. In some, gravity might be so weak that stars never formed, leaving a universe of cold, drifting gas. In others, the force of electromagnetism might be so strong that life evolved in ways we cannot even dream of. But the most haunting version of this theory is the mirror universe. Somewhere out there in the infinite expanse of the multiverse, there is another version of you, standing on another Earth, looking up at a different sky. Perhaps in that world, the Bode's void doesn't exist. Perhaps in that world, the great filter has already been conquered. However, this infinite variety comes with a dark price: isolation. These universes are separated by space that is expanding faster than the speed of light. We are trapped in our own bubble, destined never to touch, see, or communicate with our neighbors. We are like ships passing in a night that lasts forever. If we are truly part of a multiverse, it means our universe is not the everything we thought it was. It is merely a single grain of sand on an infinite beach. Does this make our existence meaningless, or does it make it a miracle? In an infinite sea of dead universes, we are the one where the stars aligned perfectly for us to exist. We are the universe's way of looking back at itself and asking, why? But as we look closer at the fabric of our reality, we find patterns that suggest something even more strange. We find structures that look less like nature and more like architecture. As we look deeper into the fundamental constants of our universe, we encounter a chilling realization. The laws of physics, the speed of light, the strength of gravity, the mass of an electron, seem perfectly fine-tuned for the existence of complex life. If any of these values were different by even a fraction of a percentage, stars would never form, and the universe would be a dead, silent void. This precision has led some of the world's greatest minds to ask a radical question: is this reality natural, or was it designed? This is the simulation hypothesis. It suggests that our entire universe, the Bode's void, the great attractor, and the very stars we see, is actually a sophisticated digital construct created by a more advanced civilization. Think about our own progress. In just a few decades, we have gone from simple two-dimensional games to hyper-realistic virtual realities. If a civilization survived for millions of years, their ability to simulate reality would be indistinguishable from nature itself. They could create billions of universes, each with its own history and inhabitants. Mathematically, if such simulations are possible, it is far more likely that we're living in a simulated world than in the original, base reality. There are glitches that support this idea. In the world of the very small, quantum mechanics, particles don't seem to exist in a definite state until they are observed. It is as if the universe only renders what is being looked at, just like a modern video game saves processing power by only drawing what the player sees. If this is true, then the vast empty spaces like the Bode's void take on a new meaning. They might not be physical gaps, but areas where the code was never fully written, or where data was deleted to save space. We are explorers living inside a machine, trying to understand the mind of the programmer by studying the pixels of the stars. But if we are a simulation, what happens when the program ends? What happens if the creators decide to hit the reset button? We are back to the silence we feared, but this time it is not the silence of empty space, but the silence of a screen turned off. If we are not a simulation, and if the great filter hasn't destroyed everyone yet, then why is the universe so quiet? Perhaps the answer is not that there is no one out there, but that everyone is hiding. This is the dark forest theory. Imagine the universe as a dark forest at night. It is full of life, but you cannot see it. In this forest, every civilization is an armed hunter, creeping through the trees like a ghost. They must be careful, because throughout the forest, there are other hunters just like them. In this environment, survival is the primary instinct. Any civilization that reveals its location is a threat or a target. If you find another life form, you cannot know for sure if they are peaceful or aggressive. In a universe where resources are limited and distances are vast, the safest path is to eliminate the competition before they eliminate you. This would explain why we haven't heard any radio signals or seen any massive space structures. The civilizations that survive are the ones that stay silent. They don't build empires that span across galaxies. They build cocoons. They mask their star's radiation and stay in the shadows. We, on the other hand, have been shouting into the darkness for a century. Our radio waves, our television broadcasts, and our deep space probes are like a flare gun fired in the middle of that dark forest. We are the noisy children who don't realize that something might be listening. Perhaps the Boötes void isn't just an empty space. Perhaps it is a place where a hunter was once found, a place where a civilization made too much noise, and the forest responded. As we look at the silent stars, we have to wonder, is the silence a sign that we are alone? Or is it a warning that we should stop calling out before it's too late? We have traveled from the absolute silence of the Boötes void to the crushing gravity of the Great Attractor. We have witnessed the slow evaporation of black holes and the chilling possibility that our reality is nothing more than a digital dream. It is easy to feel small. It is easy to feel lost in a universe that seems indifferent to our existence. But there is one final truth we must face, a truth that connects the first atom to the last thought in a human brain. We are not just observers of the cosmos, we are the cosmos itself. Every atom of oxygen in our lungs, every carbon atom in our DNA, and every iron atom in our blood was forged in the heart of a dying star. We are the legacy of the very stars that have burned out and left the voids we so fear. The universe is a cycle of birth, expansion, and eventual stillness. But even in the total darkness of the far future, the information that makes up you and me cannot be truly destroyed. Perhaps the heat death is not an end, but a reset. Perhaps in the infinite dance of the multiverse, this entire story will begin again. A new Big Bang, a new collection of stars, a new civilization looking up and asking the same questions. As the screen fades and the silence returns, do not look at the darkness as a void. Look at it as a canvas, a space of infinite potential where anything can happen and where everything already has. We are a brief moment of light between two eternities of darkness, and that makes this moment, right now, the most valuable thing in the entire universe. Thank you for journeying with us through the architecture of silence. The stars may fade, the voids may grow, but the curiosity of the mind remains the only light that can never be truly extinguished. Sleep well, traveler. The universe is waiting for you to wake up.